Hello YouTube, I'm back again with another video, and by now people are going to be aware that I'm going to be playing back Black Saiyans because I want to see the full extent of this deck, and surprisingly it does a lot for what I managed to accomplish with this deck and the amount of time and effort I put into making this archetype be legit. As you can see right now, it shouldn't be obvious, so considering what I mean, it shouldn't be obvious because the number of bricks you're playing. The reason why the deck the way it's good the way it is because of the numerous amount of spells that I'm playing to help me draw into a bunch of cards to make this deck play the way it's meant to for this archetype, because I mentioned that a lot of them are usually bricks if you don't draw into spells, and people are claiming this deck is broken, but the main issues that people aren't mentioning is it's also the spells that help give the deck so much synergy, as you see right now. So the deck has so much synergies that you have to play the spells in order for the deck to function, because if you don't, you're gonna have like at least 5 or 6 level 8 monsters in your opening hand, and they could potentially lose you the game. That basically just like a sitting duck. You basically have 5 sitting ducks, 6 sitting ducks in your hand. They can't do you anything unless you can open with Xion or Aisha. So obviously Xion's basically your starter card as well as Aisha. That's why you play 3 of these cards. So I'll use Xion's effect to banish Javante in my hand. I'll play Black Saint Pride. And then on top of that, I'll activate Lure to draw 2 and banish 1 from my hand. Same thing again. So some of the players have to notice it's the spells is what's making this deck very like excruciating, very like offensive. I mean literally offensive, yeah. Because the number of monsters you can summon and how easy it is to get a bunch of powerful level 8 monsters on the field with the spells that I mentioned that are on my field. And it's just overall just capable of doing so much. But it also depends on how it depends on the cards in your hand also. So if you don't draw into a specific card, you may end up losing the duel, or you end up with the worst hand ever. So as you see, I already have 5 monsters. And there's most likely going to be a 2-round duel, just to be honest with you guys, because my opponent wants to test his deck to see the new results after, if there be any changes. If the next duel will be different from the last one. So, but you'll be surprised. It's potentially gonna be almost the same result as what you see here, but with a different like hand, obviously different like turnaround, different draw. What you see with Monroe, basically literally allowing you to draw 1 card for each dark attribute monster with different name. Considering he doesn't have his own here in summon, and then I'll use Shaggy's effect. But both of my monsters become level 4 until the end phase, as you see right now. Waiting on Black Saint Destiny. And I'll be using Shaggy's effect. I shuffle 3 black cards from my graveyard banish onto the deck, and I draw 2 cards. Accept itself. And I already have a massive hand, so literally it's the spells that are it's literally the spells that are completely contributing to the deck and making it very suffocating as to why it's so efficient. It's the spells that are literally making the deck very efficient. So to say that it's the monsters, like, they don't do anything unless you draw into a certain card. So I already drew the card that I need. Exactly, so gonna activate an 8-star ball to go into my ritual monster, Black Saint Booker. And what's crazy about this duel is that I can't because of Booker's effect, as you can read. So what's crazy about throughout this entire duel is I managed to summon all the different summoning mechanics besides Pendulum. So I have a Link, I have a Ritual, I have a Synchro, and eventually I'm going to have an Xyz monster out. So I'm going to use Ambrose effect to go into Black Sand King, and you may be surprised, and then eventually I'm going to go into my Fusion monster, which I'm going to summon out, which is my final summon basically. And I basically have one, which is crazy about this deck, this field, is I already have one Link, one Xyz, one Ritual, one Synchro, one Fusion. And this is not the first time that I've done this. I'm just showing you the result of what this deck is capable of with the new support. And already he gives up on the first round, and we're going to go straight to the second round. We're going to go straight to the second match, as you see right now. So I'm not going to side. And I'm being honest, I'm 100% being honest. It's all, like I said, it's literally depending if you draw into a good spell card, a specific spell, for this deck to function the way it should. And how it's supposed to actually, and supposedly that's how the deck is actually meant to be played. Because if you don't draw on your spells, chances are it's going to be a very short duel for you. That's the risk when you play Black Saints. It's the fact that I just figured a way to make the deck utilize a good amount of spells, a good amount of monsters to make it function the way it should. So, like I explained, like I said, this field isn't enough though. I understand overall his deck's not broken, so I can't really say anything to criticize. The only thing you can say is that he could just try and make more support cards that can help him build his board in order to counter against my cards. Possibly summon more monsters, but not to the point where it just absolutely prevents the opponent from playing. My deck, I'll be honest, it did prevent my opponent from doing anything. I think the only problematic card that on the field was Booker, because he can only add or special summon during his second main phase, but includes both players, and I can use its effect to send one of my cards so that I take no damage for the rest of the turn. And it's a quick effect, so I already activate trade-in, so already looking at the hand that I've compiled, the deck that I built, already it's giving me almost not the exact same results, but it's providing me the cards that I need to help make this deck even more viable. So for it to even be a contender, as you see right now, as activate Black Saiyan Evolution, the same result. But I'm going to be going into Xeon because the effect is more important and is more useful. And then Black Saiyan Pride, when it's activated, allows me to add either Black Saiyan's Matter or Black Wall Street for my deck, Graveyard or Banish Zone. So let us continue, as I'm about to link into Black Saiyan Isaac. Before I use Isaac's effect, Evolution's effect goes off, which allows me to search for my deck or graveyard, which has a Black Saiyan monster in its name. So I'll summon Elijah, and Elijah's effect will activate, allowing me to search for Javante. I'll special summon Javante. I'll use Javante's effect, banishing Aisha, allowing me to summon Xeon, and he becomes a level 4. And then I use Black Saiyan's Matter's effect, special summon Monroe from my hand, and I draw up to the number of Black Saiyan monsters I control with a different name. And I already drew 5 like last time with Monroe, so let's continue with this duel. I'm going to synchro for Marquise, use its effect, shuffle all the spell trap cards. if I asked if he had a chain, I'm not even sure if he can chain with a strap leg. I don't know if unless it was treated as a monster, or like unless it was a monster, unless it's a spell trap in his main monster zone. If he special summons it from his spell trap card zone to the monster zone, I'm not too aware, but maybe he didn't really check his card before he decided to shuffle it. But maybe it doesn't play out the way it's supposed to. So I'm already going to go into my link for Black Saint Prince again. Again, I'm going to be amassing a lot of draw power. I'm going to be amassing a lot of cards in my hand, which you see right now. So that way, this ensures that I get to a specific card and just play it out in order to get into like specific types of monsters. Like I'm hoping to go into another Xyz. Obviously I already have a Link, Synchro, Fusion, Ritual, just to make the duel more fascinating. So, and already is a fascinating duel with my deck that I'm playing. So would be nice to expect more from my opponent. So I feel like he could have done a lot, but he's already playing. The issue is playing too many bricks. And if you were to play bricks, you got to make sure to make the most out of them. If you have ways of getting them out from your deck with specific cards that allow you to activate them from the deck, to add, and needs to heavily utilize more cards on the field so that he can prevent me from doing my shenanigans like you see right now. So which probably could have helped him in this situation if he had come up with something, but he hasn't. And I already have 11 cards in my main deck, so I'm saying overall it would have helped, because like if you like in any trading card game, not just if you don't try to build your board, you don't try to manage to keep your life points guarded, or if you don't try to have any means of like trying to put pressure on the opponent using cards that can like compete, that are simply generic, that are staples in Yu-Gi-Oh or any other trading card game, then you'll end up in this situation. And because in this scenario he just didn't have enough to stop me from doing anything. He didn't have anything to stop me. So that's where it came to this. Although my deck may have been absurd, he had nothing. He had no card that had any means of like doing any harm to my deck whatsoever. He didn't have any response, no card effects. He was just simply waiting for me to attack before he could decide to do anything. So I actually would have given him the chance to be able to respond, but he didn't have anything for me, so which gave me the opportunity to end this duel. So overall, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to check for more upcoming content later in the future. Be sure to check your notifications, comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.